What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. So, the way I look at the Clippers right now, you've heard me speak on it about how talented the team is, or excuse me, about how great they're playing, like they're the most talented or one of the most talented teams in the league. And they're doing this with less talent because they don't have their superstar in action right now. But I'm here to tell you, the NBA, the rest of the NBA needs to really watch out and fear this team if they ever get healthy. Because as you heard me say in other videos, previous videos before, this team, when healthy, could be one of the scariest teams in the NBA. When you look at the Clippers defensively, they're one of the top 10 defensive teams in the league. When you look at them totality wise, they may not have all the top defenders on their team, but the way they play collectively by committee, by units, and the way they play defense and the way they actually attack teams on the defensive end, they don't play on their heels defensively. They play going forward. They play on attack mode. They are ready to, pick the ball at any time. They're ready to always get deflections. They're always pretty much in contentions of getting 6 to 10 points on fast breaks every single game. So when you think about Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, you got Nico Batum still, you got Terrence Mann, they got some pieces there that will play you to the finish. I mean, literally play you all the way from the first quarter all the way to the fourth quarter in nonstop energy, nonstop coming at you, nonstop just trying to prowl the ball from your hands and try to get deflections and turnovers, which will give their team an advantage of scoring on the opposite end. And when you look at that, to me, one of their biggest surprises has been Chris Dunn. He's come in, he's been solid as a point guard, not turning the ball over too much, being very feisty as he's always been. He's been knocking down the three a little bit better than I thought he would. So is Derrick Jones Jr., or I'd say Derrick Jones Jr. has gotten better with the three-point shot over the last few years in his career since he's been on Miami. And, Nico is still hanging around. And like I said, I still like Terrence Mann out there. I think Terrence Mann needs to be a little bit more assertive and don't be so shy to pull that trigger, because there is no Paul George. There's nobody there as far as a second star, even though I think Norm Powell technically is their second star, like the video I just made a couple of days ago, which you can definitely check that out. Technically, there isn't a second star there. There isn't no first star there right now because Kawhi is out. But I think Terrence Mann needs to definitely not be shy and pull that trigger a little bit more and have a little bit more confidence in his jump shot. I mean, I feel like he will pull the trigger, he will shoot, but I just don't feel like he shoots with confidence, or enough confidence I would like him to have. With all the years of service he's been with the Clippers, he should be very comfortable in his role and be very comfortable and be very outspoken if need be, because, honestly, he's turning into, if not one of the leaders on the team, because he's been there long enough to be one of the voices in the locker room. So definitely, hopefully see more from him offensively, hopefully get more consistency from him in that area, and they'll be fine. But along with the defense on the perimeter, they got Zubac in the paint, and Zubac, it may not be the best shot blocker in the world, but he will contest and he will give it effort. Especially this year, he's given effort on both ends of the floor, especially because he's been scoring a lot more this season. And of course, he's had to, because Kawhi is not there, and all of them have to pick up the load because their great superstar isn't there. But when you look at this team the way they are, I can't see why they wouldn't be a contender with Kawhi Leonard, because they have a winning record now, and I believe they're 6-5, and they lost to the Thunder the other night. And they gave the Thunder a pretty good run, especially in the first half of that game. I mean, the Thunder had a little bit like an 8-point lead or something like that, and the Clippers came back and took the lead by 7 or 8, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. And, they couldn't sustain the lead, but that just goes to show pretty much a lot of their games this season. The reason why they were 6-4 at the time playing Thunder, but now they're 6-5, because they have talent they have enough for any team defensively. They just don't have enough for a lot of teams offensively, because James Harden, he's there by himself, the lone star player, but he's definitely older and definitely gained weight over the years from what I see. And he's definitely not the James Harden from the Houston Rockets, but at the same time, he still can give you 20 plus points. He still can give you 10 plus assists a game, which is pretty much all the Clippers really need out of him, especially when Kawhi comes back. But right now they need a little bit more out of him, but it's okay because they're getting more production out of Norman Powell, who's playing as their number one star player in a role player's body. But at the same time, he's playing it very well. He's shooting 50+% from the field, scoring 25 points a game. And, with that being said, he's really increasing his stock a lot because if the Clippers do decide to trade Norman Powell at any point or this offseason, his stock is really going to be up so high because of what we're seeing him do right now, which hopefully the Clippers keep him and don't trade him, because I think that would be a mistake, especially if they just get back maybe another big man and maybe a few picks. I don't really think that's actually really worth for what Norman Powell is and the way he's playing right now. So hopefully they decide to keep him regardless and don't try to use him as trade stock to get something else and maybe throw another player in there as an additive. So, but the way this team is built right now, like I said, if they can just stay in the same realm they're in right now, stay in the same position for the most part, stay around that 500 range, give or take somewhere in there, they'll be fine, going forward, because like I said, at some point Kawhi will come back. And when he does, and once he catches a rhythm with this team and see what he's got, if this team sneaks into the playoffs, I don't think a lot of teams are going to want to play them because, like I said, they got perimeter defenders. They got bodies in the paint. Mo Bamba, he hasn't played yet. He may not be the best big man or even close to that, but he is an extra big body. And when you got extra big bodies, that means maybe possibly extra blocks, maybe possibly extra rebounds. So with that being said, anything extra to what the Clippers already have is going to make them better. It's not going to make them worse. So, and then you never know, it might be another trade. They might make it a trade deadline at some point, or in this season. So you can't rule that out also. So, I mean, the way their team looks right now, if they can stay healthy with what they have and add Kawhi Leonard back and get him going with this team. Ty Lue has this team playing very, very well for the pieces they have on the floor. Because as I said, they may not be the most talented, but they're playing like, they're playing their lives out. They're playing their hearts out every night. You know what I'm saying? And they're playing like they know they can win every single night. They're not playing like they're going into these stadiums or these arenas and laying down for teams because they know they don't have enough talent or they don't have their star player. They're playing like they can win every single game with what they have on the floor because they still have a star player in James Harden who can go off at any night and who can give 10 assists and, go off at the same time, along with Norman Powell, who can drop 25 plus points, as we see. So, I mean, they have enough to compete with teams. They just need Kawhi there to be the superstar player that he is, to put them over the top and put the nail in the coffin in some of these close games or some of these games where they have the momentum. And if they had a player like Kawhi, of course, they can drive that momentum home and get more victories, in which they wouldn't be 6-5. They might actually be 8-3 with Kawhi Leonard, or, maybe 9-2. So, I mean, when you look at it from that standpoint, I like this team, the way they're built, the way they're constructed, and the way Ty Lue is coaching them so far and getting the best out of the pieces that he has. I think it's been overly impressive. You know what I mean? And I don't think Ty Lue's going to get a Coach of the Year award or anything like that unless this team finds a way when Kawhi comes back and then they just, keep ascending and get all the way to like the second or, they get to the second seed or something like that, in the West, then maybe possibly Coach of the Year. But I mean, that's a long way away, especially because it's a long season. So we gotta, definitely take that into account. But the way the Clippers are, and if they can, if Kawhi comes back in feasible enough time, and if they maybe add another piece at trade deadline, maybe like another big man or something like that, it's pretty much all I think they would need. If they were going to make a trade at trade deadline, I mean, you're looking at a team really in the Western Conference. I like their chances against the Phoenix Suns in a 7-game series with Kawhi there. I like their chances against Denver. I like their chances against the Thunder. I like their chances against the Timberwolves. I mean, I'm just saying, I like their chances if they played the Lakers in a 7-game series. So, I mean, if you look at all teams in the West, they really stack up very well against those teams because if you look at the Clippers, they're the most defensive inclined of all those teams, or one of the most defensive inclined of all those teams. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, that could be a tough matchup, but at the same time, I still think the Clippers can take them in a 7-game series with Kawhi Leonard, because that's Kawhi Leonard they have. And Kawhi just puts fear into the heart of Luka Doncic. He just does. Even though Luka can get off and score his points, he can't stop Kawhi Leonard. And even though he scores his points, he doesn't play defense like Kawhi Leonard does. So that's an advantage to the Clippers, because they have guys on their team and they have a superstar who's going to get 2 to 3 steals per game in every game of that series. 2 to 3 steals is 4 to 6 points extra that the Clippers are going to have getting easy baskets. Whereas the Dallas Mavericks, most of their points are a lot harder because they're taking a lot more 3-pointers. It's harder to hit a 3 than it is to do a layup. So, I mean, when you look at it from that standpoint, and then the other defensive players that the Clippers have, which one they took from Dallas, and Derrick Jones Jr., it makes them a very formidable opponent. So, I mean, I can't wait to see them fully healthy. And I know the rest of the NBA fans probably can't wait to see them healthy, and just to see what they'll look like, whether they can, poke fun at them or be like, wow, this team is really a contender, a possible contender. And I think most people will say they'll be a possible contender once they see this team fully healthy and well and put together. And I definitely don't think a lot of teams in the NBA is going to want to see this team in a 7-game series if they're well put together and they got their superstar. Because what we're seeing right now with this team, not a lot of people thought they would have a winning record. A lot of people, like the Philadelphia 76ers are 2-8. A lot of people probably envision the Clippers being 2-8, to be honest with you, or somewhere around that nature. But the Clippers have exceeded with less talent and older James Harden, and they just got the right defensive pieces. They just need more offense. Once they add the offense with the defense, really, who in the world is going to want to see the Clippers in a 7-game series?